Hello and welcome to the third sector. In our community, there are three sectors: the public, the private, and the nonprofit. And it's that third sector that we're here to talk about today. My first guest is Emma Ullery with Brighter Path.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
Now I know this is a brand new organization.
Yes, it is very new.
So let's start by telling the folks, what is Brighter Path? How did you get started and why?
Okay, so Brighter Path is a equine assisted therapy. We offer traditional riding lessons as well as equine assisted therapy, and not a whole lot of people know what that is. It's a little unique. We're very new, so we offer traditional riding lessons, so that means we give riding lessons to anyone who wants to learn how to ride. And we also offer equine assisted therapy. So we offer equine assisted therapy is riding lessons for those with disabilities or disadvantages in life.
What would some of those disadvantages or disabilities look like?
So we have a wide range. It is our mission to serve everyone in the community. So anyone who has any physical limitations, anyone who is going through some emotional trauma, things like that. There's a wide range, and our aim is to assist everyone in their disadvantages in life.
So how did this organization get started?
So we actually have been around for a long time. We've been operating under a different name, but I started teaching around 10 years ago. Me and my dad started teaching at our home. Very casual basis. We were literally teaching in our horse's pasture, just friends and family that wanted to learn how to ride, and word of mouth went crazy, and a lot of people started learning about us, and we got really, really busy. And my dad felt led to build an indoor riding arena to accommodate everyone that we were working with. So over the years, we got really busy, and I started kind of taking things over. And this past year, I actually have taken it over completely, and I decided that I would like to expand and incorporate different things that we could do in the program. So I actually brought it to the attention of my dad and my really good friend, Christy Herrig. And it was actually this time last year, we were literally having our board meetings in Little Sheba's twice a week. So over the course of a few months, we started building our board of directors. We acquired our nonprofit status late last summer, and since then we've really been expanding, and we're getting more awareness of our program, and now we're just making so many leaps and bounds that I'm so proud of.
Super. So you mentioned a board of directors.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So when we first started making plans for the program, we knew we had a lot of work to do. We were brand new, starting from scratch, and we knew we needed a really solid team to really see us through the beginning stages. So we put a lot of thought into what we wanted our board to look like, and I don't know how we pulled it off, but we ended up with the most amazing board. We have our president, Brian Ballinger, our treasurer, Christy Herrig, and our secretary, Carissa Harrington, as well as Chip Valanja, Marty Hancock, Shannon Guiley, and Justin Burkhart. So we have a really well-rounded group. They're all very dedicated and hardworking, and I'm just so proud to have them on our team.
And they're all volunteers, I assume.
Yes, all on a volunteer basis. They all do amazing work. They've put in so many hours, and they're really dedicated to the program. So it's been great.
I saw some of the videos that you did on Facebook, and
Yes.
that's a really clever way to get the word out about your organization. But for folks that maybe didn't see that, go into a little more depth about your programs and the things that you're able to offer the community.
Okay, so we offer individualized riding sessions. So none of our students are exactly the same, and that's what makes it a little unique. We really personalize each session depending on what our students need. So our kids come into the barn, they are set up with their own little team of helpers, and each child is assigned a goal for the night. And along with me and their team of volunteers, we kind of make a session built specifically for them. So between me and their team, we make sure that they are able to accomplish their goals no matter what it is. If we're working on just regular horsemanship skills, or if we have a physical limitation and we're trying to overcome that, there's so many different ways that we can use the help of horses to reach the goals that they have.
You mentioned Christy. I know she has a little guy that loves to ride horses.
Yes.
Tell us what a typical session might look like for someone that has a physical or mental challenge that they're overcoming through this.
Yeah. So they arrive at the barn and they're immediately greeted by their group of volunteers. We rely heavily on our volunteers. Nothing gets done without them. So depending on what they're working on and what they're able to do, their helpers will assist them in getting their horse ready, assist them getting on, and then they are there with them throughout the duration of the lesson. So we have different session times. Some of our kiddos ride for a half hour and some for a full hour, and they have a lot of activities and games and exercises that they go through with their team and with their horse to accomplish their goals for the day.
And how do you fund all of this? Is there a charge for the lessons, or do you?
So we mostly, we're funded by grants and donations. We rely heavily on that, and we are actually getting into our first season of grant applications, which is really exciting. Being brand new, we started really late in the summer, so there weren't really many grant opportunities for us then. So we're getting into filling out all of the grants for this spring, so that's really exciting. But we do rely on donations and grants to keep us going.
Well, it sounds like a wonderful program, and I don't know a whole lot about it, but from what you've described, it sounds like that this equine therapy can benefit people of all walks of life.
Absolutely, yes. So I've had a wide range of students over the years, and we're looking at expanding even more from that. We have a lot of goals and ideas coming up that we're really excited about. We have our short-term goals, of course, since we are brand new, but there's so many different directions that we can take this that we're really excited about.
Can you share some of those goals? What are your goals just starting out? Because you're not even a year old yet in this new one, right?
So being brand new, our ultimate goal right now is just awareness. We're doing a lot of social media advertising and promotions just to get our name out there because there's so many people that don't know who we are and what we do. Another big goal for this year is funding our scholarship program. It's very important to us that we are able to serve everyone in the community no matter what, and having our scholarship program is a big, big part of that.
So how does the scholarship program come into play?
So being a nonprofit, it's very important to us that we serve everyone in the community, and that we don't want to turn anyone away just because of their financial status. So that's when the scholarship program comes in. We have kids that sign up through an application, and when we feel that they could benefit from the program, that's when the scholarship comes in.
Okay, so your goal really is to turn no one away,
right?
Regardless of their
Yes.
ability to pay or not. If there's a
Right.
need for the services,
Yes.
you're working to make sure that's going to happen.
Absolutely. That is something that we all feel very strongly about, and once the funds start coming in, that's the first thing we're going to tackle.
So what do you see as your long-term goals? Some of the things you've kind of mentioned, things we want to do.
So we have a lot of different plans. Being brand new, we're not really sure which direction we're going to take first. There are so many different things that we want to do, and we're trying to figure out the best way to approach that. We want to do things in the correct way and in the correct order, so we're spending a lot of planning time before we jump into anything.
That's very wise. So, some organizations get the cart before the horse. I'm so funny, right? Planning is really important for a new nonprofit.
Yes, that's a big part of the reason that we spent so much time selecting our board of directors. we really wanted a group that was going to put in the thought process before just going gung-ho and jumping into something that we weren't ready for. So I think we have a well-rounded group that is going to keep everyone grounded and looking at the big picture rather than jumping into something a little too soon.
And do you have to have special training to do this?
Yes, so I went through my certification. I acquired my therapeutic teaching license in 2014. So I've been certified since then, and we're working on getting our barn certified as well.
Super. We've got just a few minutes left. I know time flies. If there are folks out there that really have a passion for this type of thing, is there an opportunity for them to volunteer or be involved?
Absolutely, yes. Like I said, we rely heavily on our volunteers. We don't get anything done without them. And we do have a place for everyone. We have quite a few different opportunities for them. You don't have to have any experience with horses at all. You don't even have to have experience with the children if you are interested in just the animals. So we really have a place for everyone, and you can find all of our information on our social media and our website as well.
Why don't you give us that website address?
Okay, our website is brighterpathinc.com, and you can find us on Facebook and Instagram as well.
Super. Well, Emma, I wish you a whole lot of luck with this.
Thank you so much.
It sounds like a really valuable program, and I know some of the people involved with it really have a passion for helping children and those that have challenges in life. So thank you for stepping forward and doing this.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. We'll be right back with more of the Third Sector. Welcome back to the Third Sector. We've switched guests now, and my next set of guests are from the Animal Care Alliance. Please welcome Mindy and Joyce. Welcome.
Thank you.
It's nice to have you here. I will let each of you share what your title is and your role at Animal Care Alliance. And whoever wants to start, do that, and then tell us what is the Animal Care Alliance.
Well, I'm the president of the board and one of the founders of the organization. We started almost 12 years ago, and we're a low-cost spay-neuter program primarily. However, we do have vets who do walk-in medical care on a very regular basis, so it's a first-come, first-served thing. People can bring their pets in for vaccinations, for wellness care, for injury, illness, that kind of thing. So actually, you know, when we started, we were excited about the prospect of having a low-cost spay-neuter program, but it's become a lot of things other than that, and quite frankly, we aren't sure what it's going to be next. So
still growing
one
and
day
changing.
at a time. Yes.
And it sounds like a veterinarian clinic.
Yes.
And the spay and neuter program is very affordable.
That's our primary mission, so that's what we want to do. So we actually raise the money to support ourselves by doing those walk-in businesses, seeing lots and lots of animals on any given day for lots of different reasons. Like I said, we sell flea control products, heartworm preventatives, that kind of thing. So that's really where we make our money, so that we can keep our prices for spay-neuter low, because we want to reduce the population of homeless pets that we have in our community.
Super. Mindy, why don't you introduce yourself?
Okay, I'm Mindy, and I'm the office manager, and I'm also a board member. And I just recently started working at Animal Care Alliance, but I volunteered for quite a while, and I've helped with wildlife for 6 or 7 years. And that's another aspect of Animal Care Alliance is the wildlife. Joyce is permitted through the state and the federal government, so we can do birds, raptors, mammals, and we see lots and lots of those every year.
Now I'm intrigued by raptors.
Raptors would be birds of prey, so like hawks and owls.
And at one point, I think we were going to see the owl, but it wasn't his day to come out, maybe. But I understand we have pictures. How did he become part of your animal family?
We get a lot of animals from the DNR. Conservation officers are called to pick up various things from raccoons to owls to whatever. And this particular little screech owl, it's a tiny little thing. Everybody always says, oh, is it a baby owl? But no, it's an adult owl. It's as big as that species is going to get. And we've had it for probably a year and a half. And it was a conservation officer who picked the owl up. And it has a broken wing, so it's not releasable. But she makes an excellent program bird. People just love her. So she's easy to pack around because she's just a little ball of fluff, and so we take her to schools. Mindy was a first grade teacher at Northeastern for a very long time, and we went there and entertained their first grade classes not too long ago, and they just love the owls.
Oh, I bet they do. There's nothing more fun than kids and animals.
Right.
Yes. So how did this get started? What was your passion that caused you to say, I'm going to do this?
Well, several things have come together. The wildlife thing we'd been doing for decades, actually. We've only had our bird permit for a couple of years, so that's new. But Animal Care Alliance itself started actually with a grant from the Wayne County Foundation. The fall grant cycle of 2006, some of us put our heads together and we said, what our community really needs is a low-cost spay-neuter program. There are just too many homeless animals. So we wrote a grant, and I can remember exactly where I was when somebody called me from the clinic and said, hey, we have a letter here from the Wayne County Foundation. I said, well, just open it. You know, it was probably November sometime, and inside it said that we had been funded for a $7,000 grant, and that happened to be enough to buy some refurbished anesthesia equipment and hire 2 part-time vets at the time. And we were in business at Help the Animals, actually. We had a little tiny room in the shelter full of barking dogs, but in 4 years that followed that, we did over 12,000 spays and neuters in the shelter. And then at that point, it was like June of 2011, and we'd just outgrown our space. So we became Animal Care Alliance and got our own building at that time. So
12,000 in 4 years?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that seems like a lot to me.
We're probably up to, I would guess, we should be counting better, but we don't, probably 55,000 at this point in time.
Oh my goodness. And all because you have a passion for not having homeless animals.
Absolutely.
Yes. So you mentioned that you're on the board. Tell us a little bit about how the organization is governed. You have a board of directors. Is it made up of local folks or veterinarians? Who's on the board?
We have a variety. We're on the board, and then we have Amanda Badger, who actually owns Wild Hearts African Farm. Yes, and she's in Lewisburg. I was trying to remember the exact title, but she's from Lewisburg. But then the other people are local.
Mm-hmm.
Super, and they volunteer their time. Mm-hmm. That's great. Now, you mentioned veterinarians. Do you have some that volunteer their time? Are they paid to come alongside you? How does that work?
We have paid veterinarians, and we have 4 full-time and 2 part-time that come and work for us. The 2 part-time primarily do surgery, and then we have 2 full-time surgeons, and then 2 that do walk-ins.
I would think you'd have to if you've had 55,000, and that's just the spay and neuter program, not to mention the other animals that come in for care.
Right.
And they do other surgeries as well. We do an
Yes.
awful lot of dentistries, mass removals, even sadly amputations sometimes. Sometimes an animal's just hurt too badly to avoid that, but we've seen lots and lots of 3-legged dogs and 3-legged cats, and they do just fine. You know, they're a lot like people, and they feel badly for themselves. They just make it work and go on. So, yeah, we're very proud of the staff that we have. We've got some excellent assistants, technicians, some that have gone to school to be educated, and some just learned by doing, and we just got a great staff. Mindy heads the office and front desk, and she's whipped the front desk into remarkable shape in a few months' time. So, but it's kind of a big family. Everybody gets along well together. Sometimes we socialize outside of work, and it's a good thing. So we're very lucky.
It's just a family taking care of the family of animals. that you
Exactly.
have.
Right.
Do you house animals as well, or just the ones that can't be rehomed, like The little owl that we talked about?
Those don't stay at the clinic, and we have some animals that are there, but it's usually short term, just until they're either able to be placed in another rescue, or we do some adoptions through us as well.
I think that's a common misconception for folks, that they think you also have a shelter aspect
Right.
to it.
And we just don't have space for that, so.
Yes. Tell me, I'm intrigued by the wild animals that you see. You said that you get some from the DNR. What kind of animals would we see besides the birds that we've already discussed?
Raccoons, possums, squirrels. We had a tortoise this year. We had a bearded dragon. Those obviously aren't native, but they ended up with us.
We've had litters of coyote puppies, actually, the last 4 years, and 2 years we were able to channel those as they got a little bit bigger into other organizations within the state that were better equipped to let them grow up, and then you release them. You have to have permission of the landowner in order to do that, and DNR asks that you release them in the county from which you got them. So the last that we had was 2 years ago, the last litter, and they were Fayette County coyotes, so they went back to Fayette County with permission of somebody who had several hundred acres and didn't mind letting them go. So people have such misconceptions, I think, about some of these animals, and that's why we do wildlife education as well. And it's rewarding. You know, you say possum to a lot of people and they want to pick up a shovel, and, you know, they think that they're going to attack you, and they're not aggressive at all, you know, and they're very good for our environment. Actually, one possum can eat up to 4,000 ticks a week. Now, I'm not sure how they know that, but that's what everybody says. And even the coyotes, 40% of a coyote's diet is made up of rodents, and people don't know that. I mean, if we got rid of all the coyotes, we might have a rat overpopulation, you know? So it's a balance between nature and man, and we do our best to spread the word about some of these animals and let people learn what they really are about.
Yeah, it really is a balance, but you don't think about, you know, you see an animal that's been hit or hurt on the side of the road, what happens to those? So it's nice to know that there's a place they can be taken for rehabilitation and care to get them back into that cycle of life that you were talking
Thank
about. Let's talk about how you're funded. You said you'd gotten a grant, but I can't imagine it's cheap to run this type of program. So how do you stay afloat financially?
It's an ebb and flow kind of thing. We haven't really applied for many grants except through the Wayne County Foundation for the last several years, but the foundation has been very, very kind to us. But other than that, we try to support ourselves, you know, with our business. We do get donations, but we aren't really corporately funded or anything like that. So like I said, you know, we got a $7,000 grant many years ago from the foundation that has become well over $1 million a year that is budgeted for what we do. So it's kind of scary sometimes because, you know, we're having over $100,000 a month go out, and so it's kind of a fine line. So we don't want to spend too much and like not have called it the way it was supposed to be. So it's kind of one day at a time, actually.
Yeah.
So.
And the bottom line is, it is a business. It's
Yes.
a nonprofit corporation, but it is a corporation. And oftentimes that bottom line isn't about the money, it's about the passion and
Exactly.
the mission. And I think you were going to share with us what that mission actually is.
It's really just to decrease the population of unwanted pets and to provide quality medical care for all animals, all species, the wildlife and the domestic animals, and to just be there to help people out when they can't afford always to do what they need to do for their animal.
I think one of the saddest things I heard was the recession and how it had affected the elderly and their pets, having to give up their pets because they couldn't afford it. And so I'm grateful for organizations like yours that come alongside them and help them afford to take care of their pets. We've got 1 minute. What do we need to tell the folks out there that we haven't already covered? Do you have volunteer opportunities or anything like that you'd like to mention?
We have a brand new clinic being built, and so that will hopefully open up lots of opportunities for volunteers.
And where will that be located?
It's on Abington Pike, 1405 Abington Pike. So
Super.
it's close to the city. We're within the 2-mile fringe of Richmond, but it's got a country atmosphere. There are deer on the property. We've got 12.5 acres that actually Earlham College sold to us to build this clinic, and we think it's going to be great. Hopefully we'll open up before summer. And like Mindy said, then we hope to have a volunteer program. Where we are right now, we just really haven't had the space, but we'd like to have volunteers to help us with the wildlife and all the aspects of what we do.
And in our final seconds, where are you located now if folks want to come and get some care for their pets?
4101 National Road West.
That shouldn't be too hard to find.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we're out of time, but thank you so much for sharing with us today about Animal Care Alliance and for being our guests.
Thank
you
you.
for having us.
You're welcome. And thank you for joining us for The Third Sector.